If you knew what your true yes was and what your true no was in all areas of your life, would you be able to choose faster and easier? What futures would those choices create? Everyone is capable of connecting to their bodies in a way to have more exuberant and joyful living now and in the future. Now, here is your host of Choosing a Different Future with Series.
Hi everyone, I'm Series Raquel Rivas Verdejo, and you're here listening to and hopefully watching as well, Choosing a Different Future with Series, myself Series. And today our topic is Have Divine Authority for Irresistible Success in Business with our guest Spirit Baptiste. And very excited to talk to you and for you to get to know her. In case this is the first time you're checking in with me and our show, this show is all about talking to people, talking to experts and authorities who either themselves or the people that they work with, that they interact with, are choosing a different future that is actually creating something more for us all. And I myself am a family and child coach, a speech language pathologist, and energetic body worker, where I use both evidence-based practices and energetic tools from all different realms for people to connect with their bodies more, for them to thrive within their families, within their businesses and their lives. And I'm also a body relationship coach. So I connect with your body. I activate and awaken energies within your body so that you have more exuberant living. And I am the creator of a body process that actually awakens those energies. So those who are practitioners, those who receive those sessions, actually have more spaciousness, more ease within their bodies in whatever way that they would like to at that time. And I would love for you to know as well about some of the events that we have coming up. We have the Expansive Energies group. Each month we have a different theme. And this month's theme is truly living with the unexpected. This group is an energetic lab where we'll explore energies, all the energies at our disposal. It's about prioritizing self-care, and we meet twice a month, 45 minutes on Zoom, and there's audio replays for all of the members in a private group. We also have Coming Out of the Dark on December 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern North America. It's a Taste of Awakening workshop. We have these awakening classes where people learn the body process. But with this workshop, it's a 1-hour workshop when we are going to be looking at pulling yourself out of those dark moments that happen to all of us. Maybe you know someone who would benefit from shining brighter and being more in touch with their sense of joy. And so in this interactive event, we'll be activating the energies within our bodies with using some simple movements in conjunction with some specific words to shine brighter, be happier, while perceiving the possibilities uniquely available to us. And if you're interested in the information for that, you can connect with us through social media. There's the awakening classes are at empoweringlightlanguage.com/living and dying. And Being a Different Possibility for Children and Families monthly support group is starting in January. All of this information can be found through emailing me at empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com or at going to empoweringlightlanguage.com and exploring an all around. Now, I'd love to introduce our guest today, Spirit. Hi, Spirit. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a long time coming.
It's been a minute, but worth it. It's been a minute, yes.
And
since we met.
With you is Have Divine Authority for Irresistible Success in Business. I'd love to read your little bio so people get to know you a little bit more. And of course, I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions, and people actually sent in some questions, so I'm excited for us to address those as well. Thank you so much for those that sent in questions. Spirit helps divinely inspired women entrepreneurs uncover their business soul purpose, build millionaire success habits and million-dollar client enrollment while experiencing their own guaranteed irresistible. She is the creator of Spirit B School, an international best-selling author, transformational speaker, intuitive facilitator, and a Shaktipat practitioner of love. Did I say that correctly?
You did.
Yay. She has a great group that she has going on through Facebook called the Divine Entrepreneurs Loft. So we can check that out. The links are also within our website, and anywhere that you found us, the links are underneath that as well. Thank you so much, Spirit, for being here. As I mentioned, we kind of found each other in this really roundabout, unexpected way, which I absolutely love. Some of the best people in my life have been showing up when I just didn't even expect it. And we went through this virtual summit, the Clarity, Confidence, and Connection Summit. It was a virtual connection, and it continues to be. Back in, I think it was September.
You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And there was about 64 speakers, and immediately Spirit was one of the speakers that I was drawn to and pulled to. I checked out her talk. I reached out to her, and the rest is history. And I immediately was like, you need to be on my show.
And what an honor. What an honor. Because I feel that same exact connection. And of course, as you know, our work has deepened through that, because I, participated in some of the beautiful energy work that you do. And yes, and have had some astounding grounded results from that, where now I can push the earth in any part of the cosmos I want. That's exactly how it made me feel. So very empowering.
I think that our talk and what you do as well with business is also what you do. We both empower people in different ways. I'm so glad you feel like you can move the earth and the mountains and everything after our session together. That was a living and dying body process session, the body process, where I teach people how to either run it on themselves or they can receive it for themselves and experience that. And then with your work, I'm very curious about how you found your way to even doing this type of work with business.
Well, thanks for asking that, series. And also thank you so much for finding me and inviting me and having me on your show today to speak to your wonderful audience. I really do value you and appreciate that. So I think my story is like every other life story. You're bobbing along and going through life. You don't know what you don't know. So the world is a beautiful place and everything is just fine. You're not asking any questions. You're not questioning anything. You're just simply following your nose and listening to authority and showing up and doing what you're supposed to do. And so that's what I was doing when all of a sudden I sort of stepped through my modeling career, and in the door of my roommate's house in Miami at that time walked the love of my life. But well, at least I thought he was. He made a grandstand coming through the door. I can still see that visual. It was so powerful. I can still see that right now. So following my modeling career and him, I left Miami because he was attending school in New Jersey, and I moved to New York to, continue my modeling career. And it was going pretty well, but my heart was falling deeper and deeper in love. And the next thing I know, I guess, not so much today, but certainly out of the era I was coming, we would have said I put the horse before the cart. And I had our beautiful daughter. And but it was quite all right, because I could already see the both of us sitting in rocking chairs and admiring each other's gray hair and living a full life together. So that was already
the whole image, the whole story written out.
So I'm not a Shaktipat practitioner by accident either. When I'm in love, I'm all in love. And I try to stay in love. But this time, this person was the object of all that loving attention, but he wasn't receiving it on the same level. So ultimately, not long after,
that many of our listeners can relate.
Just going along, following.
I certainly can. Yep.
Following what you think is what the world means for you to do. And so, I have no regrets about that experience, because it led me to who I am today, and gratefully so, because now I do still follow an authority, but I follow my divine authority. And that is just opened up so much greater purpose and realization and manifestation for me. I have no regrets, because otherwise I might have just kept bobbing along and looking forward to the days of rocking chairs and gray hair.
Well, it sounds like over your course of your journey, there was probably some kind of like aha moments, like light bulbs going off, where you were like, okay, wait a minute. I had this all written out, and then there's some signs that are showing up that are signaling something else. And we all get those signs, but we have varying degrees of how well we listen to them. So was that something that was going on? And then there were messages and you weren't quite listening?
No, there were no signs at that point in time. There were no signs whatsoever. I was full throttle, or head over heels, totally over the moon, wildly in love. This man was, and my now new family was the it. Okay. It was the it. So the signs didn't come until he decided he was going to exit stage left from my life. Okay. And then the sign came, of course, through a whole great big, huge, unmanaged, disillusioned life. A whole great big ton of despair, an enormous amount of confusion and heartbreak. So if anybody is in that state of repair, I won't call that disrepair, then they're in a good place. They're in a good place. Provided
that, everybody, that's if you're in that spot, and I think a lot of people are right now. I will fully admit, like, there's moments in the last week even where I'm like feeling like that there needs to be some things shifting, changing, repairing. So I get that.
Yeah, but I don't think, now I say that today because I've had many, countless, endless, almost moment to moment conversations with my eternal and external God self. So I say that from a point of enlightenment, you might say. I certainly did not say that then. Didn't even know it was. Yeah, I didn't know it was a thought process. I didn't know it was a question I should be asking. I didn't know anything other than being inundated with all of that emotion, which was like heavy, very, very heavy, very that kind of depressed kind of emotion, very in a depression, in a funk.
So to me, that makes me think that is a message. It wasn't necessarily a message from him, but it was your message from your body. And I know we've talked about that on the show, and you and I have spoken about that as well, where sometimes when we're in full throttle, when we're in fantasy land and all these different things, our body's trying to get us our attention and those messages, and we may or may not listen to them. Now, before we go into our next break, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about what you mean by divine authority, and how you mentioned that there's this internal and external God that you listen to now. What does that mean exactly?
Can I back up, because I'm going to answer that, but I want to say that if people are in that state of being right at the moment, feeling that kind of despair and depression and anxiety, and so there's the door out of that, because I don't want to just say, oh yeah, you're fine, just stay there. The door out of that is the right questions. And the question for me that was the right question for me, and so just if you don't know what your right question is, ask the divine, what question should I be asking myself about being here right now?
I love that.
Because at that point, the question for me was, well, if I'm not designed to be in this lifelong relationship, what am I here to do? So that was my right question. And that's what took me on that trajectory to continue with that questioning, because when the answer came, it came from that divine authority. So to answer your question, Ceres, since that time, that question was answered from a place inside of myself that I think is what we refer to as our soul, or our divine presence, or our higher intelligence, or our just knowing. When I asked that question to the universe, I almost wasn't even aware that I asked that question. I was aware, but it was it was driven out of despair. So, but when the answer came, because I asked the question not to my neighbor, who I was always asking questions to, but when I asked that question in the quietness of the room, out of a place of sitting in the corner, looking, searching, the answer, I was aware when it came, had come from within my spirit, within my soul. So it came with such clarity, and it opened the door to a whole treasure trove of personal gifts that are there for everybody. If you just know, there is a treasure of gifts that when you came onto the planet, came with you. That was your baggage that came with you. All these beautiful gifts like gems and diamonds and crystals and pearls and just everything gorgeous came with you.
Well, and that's a very different look at baggage. A lot of us have this negative connotation to baggage instead of looking at it as gifts and capacities and these gems you're talking about. Yeah. So, and it's time for our first break of the show. When we return, we will continue to discuss how we can actually have authority, how we can tap into our divine, our soul purpose. You are listening to Choosing a Different Future with Ceres, myself, Ceres, on the Inspired Choices Network. And when we return, we will continue to discuss have divine authority for irresistible success in business with my guest, Spirit Baptiste. We'll be right back.
Most people haven't been taught how to listen and partner with their bodies in order to create lives that include clarity, pleasure, ease, and connection. Tuning in to Choosing a Different Future with Ceres, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and resources on how to use your awareness of bodies and energy to your advantage. Ceres is a family and child coach and therapeutic energy worker who will guide you to get clear and acknowledge what's brilliant, magical, and a gift about you.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Choosing a Different Future show with Ceres. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Connect with Ceres through her website, empoweringlightlanguage.com. or send an email to empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Ceres Raquel Rivas Verdejo. I'm Choosing a Different Future with Ceres. And today our show topic is have divine authority for irresistible success in business with my special guest, Spirit Baptiste. And before we went on break, we started to discuss how Spirit found her way in this very interesting and super relatable journey that led her to start looking at her divine purpose, how she started to listen to a divine authority. We asked her, we started to tap into what does that mean exactly, having divine authority and listening to that. I'd love to know more. And before I forget to mention, please connect with us at any of our more than 450 platforms. We have the ICN app on every smart TV and every smart device, which is the Inspired Choices Network app. And so you can connect with us on any podcast or TV platform you can imagine. Now, Spirit.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about the energy. Was it Shakti?
Shaktipat,
and how that connects with this divine authority piece that we've been talking about. Like, how did that weave in and you discovered that?
Well, so of course, once I asked that question, if I'm not here to be a lifelong soulmate, wife, partner, mother with, a devoted relationship, and father. What big fat question mark in my head? What am I here to do? Mm-hmm. And who I was talking to, as I said, was not my neighbor. It was me asking a question, sort of an internal question. I asked the question, but not out loud. So I was asking the question, but I was asking myself. But I had a sense that, or maybe I didn't really have a sense that I was going to get an answer.
You're just like, let me throw it out there in these quiet moments. Let me just see, and sitting with yourself. And I think one of the things I'm hearing with this is that, like, a lot of people might not have asked this question or haven't had a chance to ask these types of questions yet because they're in go, go, go. They're in survival mode. They're not really sitting with themselves and having that 5 to 10 minute pause where they can sit and consider something like this. So, like, how would you invite them to do that if they are like a busy mom like you were, or there's someone that is, having multiple things going on and pulling them in different directions?
I think that there's only 2 ways you're going to ask that question. Well, there's 3. I won't discount the people that don't have to have a disparaging situation. But basically what I am saying is, if you have a disparaging situation right now or ever, remember to ask like yourself. And if you don't know, ask your higher self, because everybody has a higher self. What question do I need to be at? What do I need to know? That's all you have to say. What do I need to know? Mm-hmm. Just remember that question. And if, for instance, those operating in wisdom, who don't have to have that disparaging situation, the question is the same. What do I need to know? What do I need to know right now in this moment? What do I need to know? And then once you recognize that you've asked that question being key, and you hear where your answer is coming from, and it's not your neighbor. Because I had a beautiful neighbor who was a friend. And if I had an incident happen to me at work that just kind of blew the roof off my head, and I was like, well, what just happened? I would come home to my neighbor and I'd call her up and I'd, Hilda, guess what happened at work? And she could almost
wherever you are in the world. Thank you.
It was I had the best, if you've never had a best friend, have one like Hilda. I wish that for everyone, because she could literally listen to the first 10 words in my sentence and finish the scenario like she had been standing next to me like an earth angel the whole time.
And so you're asking these questions of your inner knowing. It could be from all these different realms. Was this a third one that you said that there was a way for you to ask these questions?
Once you come to know, it's the same question. Today, I asked the same question. What do I need to know right now?
Yeah. So no matter where you are in your journey, this is a beneficial question to ask.
This is the premier number 1 question. And right now, what do I need to know right now? Because if you're asking that question and you're not asking that question externally, as in you're expecting an answer from your friend, your neighbor, your boss, your mother, your grandmother, your grandfather, your uncle, but you're asking it of yourself, just in a quiet moment, you will. Did I say you will? Because you will get an answer. Okay. Your inner spirit somehow hears your heart, hears your yearning, and knows what you need every step of the way of your life. So you will get an answer.
And one of the things that I love is that for each of us, it shows up differently. Sometimes it's you hear it, sometimes you feel it, sometimes it's just a knowing. And it's just information. Like my mom always knows when people are pregnant before they even know they're pregnant. She's like, you're pregnant. Wow. Like that kind of, she just knows. Right. Other people, they might see visions of something, or like a picture of it or color of it. So I love that. I think it opens it up for it to be this really simple but impactful tool that then can show up in so many different ways depending on on the person.
A tingling
Now,
in your body.
I was the one that took us off of this, so I apologize. The Shakti pot. So how does that connect to that divine authority?
So, yep, let me get back. So I asked that question, and a whole array of life that I never saw before began to open. So the next thing I know, and I don't even remember, like I remember clearly how we met, but I don't really remember clearly how Iyanla Vanzant showed up in my life. But we ended up in Philadelphia living more than like 6, 7, 8 blocks away from each other. And somehow she showed up in my life.
Wow.
And she had just written her first book, but no one knew her name yet. Matter of fact, we were walking around trying to put posters on telephone poles where you weren't supposed to let people know about her book. And she put together a beautiful retreat for women. And at that retreat, for 3 days, we did many interesting things. I never knew my life was on that path to go. Clearly, I in retrospect, I see now I was exactly where I was supposed to be. But like I said, when I thought that the world was telling me to be a married woman with a family and a wonderful husband, I didn't see any of these other things. And so we went on a retreat, and she had a Shakti pot practitioner there, and each of us were initiated in that. And it's an ancient sort of probably East Indian practice, where again, it's a body energy work kind of a thing. And we learned how we could move energy for the good of other people. But ultimately, it is to send love and energy. And I stood at that time in West Philadelphia in my house, and the neighborhood was a good mixed and sometimes not so great neighborhood. And I'll never forget, I saw two young men on the corner about to get ready to rock and roll and fight, and it looked highly dangerous. Like I could sense weapons were going to fly out in the air at any second. And I went into my Shakti pot practitioner mode, and they dispersed.
Wow.
So
that's powerful.
It's very, very powerful, very wonderful thing. But the connection I learned later was I didn't run into that by accident or coincidence. It was innate and inborn within me.
That's so funny. So knowing that about you, this is Iyanla Vanzant, right?
Yes, Iyanla.
So I met her myself. I did not know you had this journey with her as well. I adore her. She was also at the beginning of me discovering a lot of my mediumship skills and just pulling myself out of my own like chronic pain, chronic illness, all the stuff. And I met her at a Celebrate Your Life convention that they would have every single year in Rosemont, Illinois, when I lived in Chicago. And I went there with my mom. We went to one of her workshops and just absolutely fell in love with her. I follow her even to this day. Like, it's just, I've read some of her books. Is she a Shakti pot practitioner, or was she just bringing a bunch of different people together at this retreat, and that was one of the trainings that was provided?
She and that particular woman did that. That was her main auxiliary training. I know we started out the first day where for 24 hours, there were 10 of us women, and then the 2 facilitators, the Shakti pot practitioner, and I apologize, I cannot remember her name. I remember that her heritage was the most interesting. She was African American, she was African, she was American, a woman of color, just a whole bunch of spirit within her. And a whole bunch of her background that she could, her ancestry that she could connect with. And she brought that all together in just the most amazing, aura and way and energy just in a room. And Iyanla, and we did things like for 24 hours, we didn't communicate using words. So if we needed to talk to the other, women there, we had to find a different way, or we didn't say anything. So then I think we did a sweat lodge, amazing work in the sweat lodge. Then we did the Shakti pot practitioner, and then we ate good food and went outdoors. And I even made friends with a snake.
I love it. I love it.
Exactly. So,
it's time for our second break of the show. When we return, I would love to hear more about this soul purpose idea and some examples of your experiences of guiding people with your type of of unique take on business. So you are listening to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, myself, Siris, on the Inspired Choices Network. And when we return, we will continue to discuss the topic, Have Divine Authority for Irresistible Success in Business with Spirit Baptiste. We'll be right back.
Most people haven't been taught how to listen and partner with their bodies in order to create lives that include clarity, pleasure, ease, and connection. Tuning in to Choosing a Different Future with Siris, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and resources on how to use your awareness of bodies and energy to your advantage. Siris is a family and child coach and therapeutic energy worker who will guide you to get clear and acknowledge what's brilliant, magical, and a gift about you.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Choosing a Different Future show with Siris. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Connect with Siris through her website, empoweringlightlanguage.com, or send an email to empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm just being a goofball over here in these breaks. Okay. I am Siris Raquel Rivas Verdejo on Choosing a Different Future with Siris. And today our show topic is Have Divine Authority for Irresistible Success in Business with Spirit Baptiste. And so before we went on break, we were starting to talk about this really cool connection we had with Iyanla Van Zandt and how she's contributed to both of us and how we do business and how we create our lives. Spirit, my love, I would love to know, so why would it be important for someone to find their soul purpose? Like, what's the point?
Well, the point, when you put it like that, Siris, is the point. That's why we're here on the planet. We came with that treasure chest. We came with that gift. We came with a soul purpose. We did not come to solely listen to outer authority. We have an inner authority that gave us all these wonderful, beautiful things to navigate this earth with. So why would you not, if you don't already know, want to find out your soul purpose? There's a million reasons why you would want to. Life becomes simple. Life is simple, but now you can tap into the fact that it really is simple. Life becomes easier. And why would you, especially right now, not want it to be easier? Life becomes fun, okay? It becomes fun because, again, you can kind of move things in the direction you want to move them. Life becomes enjoyable as it was designed to be. Life becomes fulfilling.
Well, I'm so glad I asked you that because I think a lot of people that I speak to about purpose, there is this like heaviness, obligation, duty energy with it. Like, it's like, that's what I have to do because it's my purpose versus it's, oh my God, I get to do this. It's my purpose. Like, yay. You know, it's completely being with it. And so I love that we share that. So could you give me like an example or two of how you've guided some people to find their soul purpose with a business, how to listen to their divine authority?
Can I go back? That's a process that I want to talk about, but can I go back because you made me just, that whole joy came bubbling up when you expressed it that way, because that's identically what happened to me. So here I am, I'm on this soul searching. I'm reading lots of books. I'm listening to a lot of tapes. I'm going on retreats. I'm searching because I've been guided, because I've asked the question. So then I took it to the next level because so I'm searching, and it seems as though the answer, because my grandmom had had something to do in her life with public relations. And so I thought public relations is where I'm being guided. Then I knew, so this is a tip for people, if you know your soul purpose, but not necessarily your business purpose yet. The thing that then led me to say, I was led to the library to look at a book, which is a reference book. It's about this thick, about 6 inches thick.
Wow.
Yeah. And so you can't take it out. You have to be prepared to spend an hour or two in the library with this book. It's called The Dictionary of Occupational Titles.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic reference book. So I went there to look up everything I needed to know, because basically when I'm not in my spiritual mind, my human mind is this analytical needs to know everything kind of mind. And so that can kind of get in your way. So often I have to put it on the shelf. So yeah, I know, but I still, sometimes I enjoy it, then I know I have to put it on the shelf. So, but this time it was not on the shelf. It took me to go analyze everything I needed to ever know and more about becoming a public relations person. So I get the book, I'm going down the P's, I'm looking at public relations. That's fascinating. Oh yes, I like that. I like amping up the 6 inch for people, or the 8 inch, as they say. I love doing that, edifying people, seeing them be joyous. I love that. I can do this public relations thing. So I'm reading down the thing, and it says public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I read it, and I love to talk, series. Why else would I be here with you?
This is why we're friends. Yeah.
I love to talk. I'm reading along. There's public speaking. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That's certainly me. Oh, and I went like this. They'll pay you that kind of money to talk to people. And it was all said and done. I didn't have to read any more P's under public speaking, because from there I went out. It did take me about 10 years to figure out, am I a speaker? Am I a trainer? Am I a facilitator? Am I a teacher? Oh, that was a journey. But from that guidance, and then going into becoming a business consultant and a curriculum designer for Fortune 500 companies. And one of them at one point was through the school board, working for under the corporate training wing and teaching for workforce development, that I love, because now I'm in an element where I had been myself, where I can really empower women who all of a sudden their world falls apart. Yeah. Their finance falls apart, their home life falls apart, their children are falling apart. I could relate to that really well and wanted to help desperately. But here was a young lady who shared with me that she wasn't going to be attending class. Now, my class was hopping. So I'm like, what do you mean? Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that compliment that you would tell me in advance, right? But what do you mean you won't be attending? Well, I have to go. I want to hurry up. I have a court case I have to go to because I kind of was in the wrong place at the wrong time. These fatalities happened and they want to send me to prison for life. And I said, no.
Is this you saying this or her saying that?
She's explaining this to me.
Okay, got it.
And my response was, not on my watch, because I totally believed her story that she was innocent. So I gave her some guidance, which I'm not going to necessarily go into depth, but it was all about just emanating love for the rest of the time that you have between now and then, when you get there and then afterwards. Well, the long and short of that story was she was exonerated of everything and was in my class the next day. That changed my life.
Yes. And her case, it sounds like. I mean, how could it not?
Yeah, that changed my life. When I saw her, I mean, I had the faith, I had the knowing, but to see her face when I, in that class, not the next class, but the very next class, changed my life. And that's when I realized that my treasure chest had been opened again, and I now have the ability to send that guidance for other people to look inside of themselves and come up with their own knowing. I give them some guidance and some tips, and then they get their own inner answers where they know as clear as a bell what their soul purpose is.
And it sounds like this conversation happened just within a week. Like you talked to her, she was about to go to court, she was able to be exonerated, and then she was in your next class.
I think that, that next Tuesday she was back in the class, and she was,
Wow.
Changed my life.
And that actually impacts me on multiple levels, because I've had family members that have been in jail, that have gone to prison. I've had, family members that I've mentioned this in other episodes I've talked about of, how I've dealt with family members and partners that have addictions. And so to have that type of, it sounds like your type of facilitation can also be beneficial for anyone that's dealing with a struggle like that, not just business. And then, because you met her through this professional training, but it affected her personally, like in a really visceral way, like really clear way.
Well, that's who I am when I show up in anywhere. If I'm in your space, that's who I am. I'm sure they were expecting me to teach her Microsoft Word, Excel, this, that, and some more things, personal development, how to get a job.
Can do that. Yeah.
But if you hire me, you're getting that and this. Okay. It just comes with the package. So, and I've had good results from companies, with good feedback on that. So that's just an indication of I'm in the right place doing the right thing at the right time, because I'm being sent there to get it done. So, but all of us have that gift in our treasure chest. That's not exclusive to me. That's not exclusive. So you just got to go digging in that chest, which is what I help people do, and come out with their gifts. And then I'm able to help them also discern if here's your business concept that you have total irresistible success in, because it was designed for you.
Yeah.
So that's quickly the bottom line.
Well, and one of the things that reminds me of as you're talking is the talk that you gave at the Clarity, Confidence, and Connection Summit that we were both in. One of the things you said that still just really resonates with me to this day, and I've talked to you about this, but it's really worth repeating, is you mentioned that you being you yourself are your brand. And it's not from like an influencer type of marketing place that you mentioned it from. It really was from how you have in your treasure chest, like this unique combination of all the things that make up who you are. That is your brand, and how that can then guide you in figuring out your business purpose and figuring out like what you're meant to do here on this planet. And I just want to thank you again for saying that, then for being here now with guiding people in this really unique way, because I think that that's one of the things that a lot of people can get really bogged down by and stressed out about is, well, how do I do this marketing branding in this realities type of way versus in my way, in a way that is unique to me. And I just really appreciate your perspective on that.
Thank you. May I just add a little piggyback on that? And thank you so much for saying that. It's meaningful, deeply meaningful to me. First, and it is your brand. It clearly is your brand. Everything emanates from that. But I think even more profoundly and powerfully, it's your why. A lot of people think, well, my why is because I want to send my children to college, or I want them to have something better, or I'm just passionate about it, and and I have fun doing it, and those are keys. But the why is, you'll hear Harvard entrepreneurial business professors talk to you even about why your why is important. Your soul purpose is your why, because it's your North Point navigation. So it's bigger than feeding your children, because now you'll not only feed your children, you'll feed a multiplicity of other folks along the way, either spiritually, financially, soulfully, in their businesses. That why, every business book will tell you, you have to have your why, and your soul purpose is your why. And then, of course, yes, it is your brand, okay, because it's unique to you. Nobody else. I don't care if you're polishing nails for your business. the way you polish nails and the gifts that you were given to do that, and the cosmetics or the products that you were led to do that, and the sparkly add-ons that you do is entirely different from what the business next door to you who might be doing a similar thing is doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the soul purpose, understanding and tapping into that is so important. And it's so the reason for your irresistible success. It was designed for you to become irresistibly successful and to bless the world. It just was.
I love it. I love it. I love it. One, get out of my head, because I definitely need a manicure and I'm overdue. And I was literally thinking about that this morning. So it's funny, out of all business examples, you mentioned nails. So get out of my head. And and two, I love that. I love that because it doesn't matter what type of business, if it's service related, if it's product related, you're still bringing yourself to that. You're still bringing your body to that. And I think that that's a really important message for people to hear. So it's time for our third break of the show. When we return, I'm going to hear a little bit more from Spirit about her experiences and what we need to know about how to listen to our divine authority in business. You're listening to Choosing a Different Future show with myself, Ceres, on the Inspired Choices Network. And when we return, we'll continue to talk to my special guest, Spirit, Baptiste. We will be right back.
Most people haven't been taught how to listen and partner with their bodies in order to create lives that include clarity, pleasure, ease, and connection. Tuning in to Choosing a Different Future with Ceres, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and resources on how to use your awareness of bodies and energy to your advantage. Ceres is a family and child coach and therapeutic energy worker who will guide you to get clear and acknowledge what's brilliant, magical, and a gift about you. This is the Choosing a Different Future show with Ceres. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Connect with Ceres through her website, empoweringlightlanguage.com, or send an email to empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I am Ceres Raquel Rivas Verdejo on Choosing a Different Future with Ceres, and today our show topic is Have Divine Authority for Irresistible Success in Business with my guest, Spirit Baptiste. And before we went on break, we were discussing how we can actually use our divine authority, our soul purpose to do business, and how us being us, our unique combination of this treasure chest, is what we can use for branding, which is very different than what many of us have been told. Certainly what I've been told. When I go to business trainings and professional development, that's not the message I've been told. And I think that that's a really important one. So thank you, Spirit, for adding your different take on that. One of the things that I talked to you about a little bit that I'd love for our audience and for the listeners to know about is you discussed something like 7 evidence-based reasons that your business soul purpose, correct me if I'm wrong, your business soul purpose guarantees your irresistible success. Was that like a document that you wrote, or is this like a class you provide? We don't have a ton of time, but I don't want to leave without mentioning that a little bit, because I found that really fascinating, and not to be too on the nose, irresistible.
I don't have a document prepared on that at this time, Ceres, I'm sorry. If anybody wants to inquire, I can write out something for them if anyone wants to reach you for that. We've discussed a couple of them, such as it's your authority to succeed. You won't not succeed if you tap into your soul purpose, because it is your reason for being born onto the planet, and everybody has one. We tapped into the fact that you cannot, so they talk about a vision, and your vision is your why. So they say you have to have a vision, a mission, a purpose, and then a plan and a goal and a tactic to, those are the strategies to be successful in any business, but it starts with a vision. And the thing about the vision that's magic is if you're having a challenging day in business, like I had with my my business staff member this morning at 6:30 a.m. I was up, and we're trying to her expertise is in the technology, and we're trying to connect, and I'm getting the craziest emails, the craziest messages, the craziest feedback. That's just there's a total disconnect to the whole thing. So when you're having stuff like that, or you're having a bad financial day, the trick is to always go back and read your vision statement, because that's your why, that's your purpose. So those are more evidence-based facts.
Did you do that this morning when you had all that coming up? You actually okay, let me go and look at that vision again.
Have it documented somewhere on your computer, have it in your phone,
ready to go. Yes,
report to you.
I love that
because
idea.
Everything gets clear again. Everything gets clear. And I had finally, when I spoke to her, I didn't want to speak it out to her, but I finally spoke it out. And I said, because I said, normally I'm getting messages as to why this is going on. I'm not getting messages, but when I spoke it out loud, because I didn't want to speak it out loud, because I didn't want to put it, I had to be careful in how I chose to say it. But anyway, I got such clarity before we got off our call, before I got on the podcast with you, Series. It was just amazing. And it was to simplify things, because I'm this grandiose person. I love things large. I didn't get a lot of things done most of my life, because if it's not large, it's not me. So
one of the things I'm getting then from the seven things for irresistible, I think it was seven evidence-based facts and information for irresistible success in business, is if you have this, then business is a lot easier for you to do, for one, and it's a lot more fun and enjoyable. Yes, just to reiterate what Spirit was saying, if you would like this, you can reach out to me and email me at empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Or post down under any of these, wherever you found us. If you see it through a video and there's a comment section, you can message me through there, and my team will let me know as soon as possible. But the best and fastest way is emailing me at empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com, and I will ask Spirit to send that along. And then I definitely want you to know how you can reach Spirit as well. Remember, you can contact her through Facebook. She is also having that wonderful Entrepreneurs Loft.
Divine Entrepreneurs Loft
that you can connect with her through. Next week, on our episode next week, is creating a greater enthusiasm for living with your inner child. And we're going to be looking at, well, what is your inner child trying to tell you? What if you could have a childish curiosity and enthusiasm for living? Many of us are having, as we've been talking with Spirit, a lot of ups and downs and all arounds right now, and we're desiring more joy, we're desiring more wonder, including with business. And so we're going to be looking at, instead of judging yourself, we're going to go deeper and going deeper and deeper into the darkness with that judgment. Instead, we're going to tap into our inner children and see what messages they're trying to tell us, using some of the elements of living and the body process that I created. And we can apply that to business and any other area of your life that you'd like to apply that to. Now, before we part ways today, Spirit, what would you like our listeners to know about you? Is there any other information that you would want to make sure that they know as a way for them to contact you? Is there an email address you'd prefer for them to reach out to you through directly?
They can reach me if they're choosing through Spirit, SPIRIT, just like it sounds, .Baptiste. So that's the word Baptist with an E on the end. So it's spiritbaptiste@gmail.com. And I'm happy to return all emails, have any conversation at any length to help anybody at every point in time in the day that I can.
And it sounds like I would highly recommend having a consultation with Spirit. I mean, you already can perceive after listening to her today that she has a very different take on business. And for many of you, I get that it would be your way that would contribute to your way of doing business. I also have my business program that is just self-paced that is called Business Your Way. And the information about that is at empoweringlightlanguage.com/businessyourway. I think they're complementary to each other. Thank you so much, Spirit. And
Thank you for
so
listening
much.
to the Choosing a Different
Thank
Future
you.
show. Series returns Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, keep choosing what will work for you and your body, your own unique way honoring what will work for you.